Hi lovely and darling viewers, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm doing another Top 5 Wednesday. As always, the Goodreads group is in the description below if you want to check that out. And this week's topic is books from before Booktube, or whatever platform you use to do these Top 5 lists. For me, that's Booktube. So for this list, I have excluded any book that I have reviewed on Booktube in the last 3 years, and any book that appeared in my top 10 favorite books list. That was one of the first videos that I made. I will post a link to that video in the description below if you want to check that out. It's kind of awkward though. Seriously, one of my first videos. Starting off the list, I have Gill's Fright Diner by A. Martinez. In this book, we have a werewolf and a vampire who go to this diner in the middle of America basically. And while they're eating, the owner implores them to help her deal with a zombie horde that keeps attacking her diner and trying to put her out of business. They agree to help for some moolah, and in the process find out this is a lot bigger than just zombies, and yada yada yada, their stuff, the end of the world could occur. Basically, this is a really funny book. I love it. I love the supernatural fantasy elements of it. Mostly it's a really fun ride. I adore it. I love all of A. Martinez's books that I've read so far. It's got humor in the vein of Douglas Adams and Terry Pratchett. Speaking of Terry Pratchett, the next book on my list is Reefer Man, which is one of the Discworld novels by Terry Pratchett. In this book, we have the character of Death, who is the Grim Reaper, and he starts questioning the meaning of what he's doing and these existential questions. And the powers that be decide maybe it's time for him to step down. So the Grim Reaper retires, and I, first off, really love everything that he does while he's retired and is just trying to figure out the world. I love the way that Death views the world and questions things, and it's so not human, but at the same time, it's really relatable. And then the other part of the story is what happens when Discworld is suddenly left without a Grim Reaper, and what happens to everybody who died and doesn't get ushered into their next life. It's really funny, and I basically really love Death, which is why I picked this book. So, ta-da! Next on my list is Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne, and I first read this book in middle school, and it just started me off on a huge classic sci-fi kick. I read basically anything I could find by H.G. Wells or Jules Verne or even Robert Louis Stevenson. I got into a lot of those classic monster books, mostly because of this one. In the story, we have Professor Lindenbrock and his nephew Axel, and they lead an expedition into the center of the earth to just basically find out what's down there and what's happening. Along the way, they find a lot of really interesting, fantastical things. Some of it is geology and rocks, and then some of it is dinosaurs. There is literally an entire cavern down there that is just filled with prehistoric life and what the earth looked like before the dinosaurs went extinct, and I love it. It's one of my favorite parts. Middle school me just totally clung on to dinosaurs. The entire concept of what's down there and how much we don't actually know about the earth. Even now, we still don't know so much. And I think it really just started me off on this whole idea of what else is out there, what is our universe like. Next on my list is the Princess Diaries series by Meg Cabot. This is book 4, Princess in Waiting, but really this is a stand-in for all of it. These books follow Mia Thermopolis, who discovers that she's a princess and heir to the throne of Genovia, and that her father is actually the ruling prince of this country. So Mia needs to step up and learn how to be a princess, but at the same time she's dealing with typical teenager stuff like relationships, boys she likes, her best friend, causes that she wants to support, and she's also a really totally nerdy, geeky girl, which I love. She's obsessed with Star Wars, and I totally related to that in high school. So yeah, I definitely still have a very big place in my heart reserved for the Princess Diaries. I adore Mia. And the last book on my list is Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. I first read this book when I was in upper elementary school to middle school, and just really loved it so much that I read it so many times that the book was falling apart. This is actually a replacement copy. This book follows Jim Hawkins, who works in an inn with his parents, and one day this old seafaring guy shows up at their inn telling them drunken stories about pirates, and Jim really latches onto these. And then one day pirates actually come looking for a map that this mysterious stranger has. The stranger entrusts the map to Jim, and Jim manages to find backing for a voyage to follow the treasure map to this big lost treasure. I love this story. I love the entire journey. Jim is super relatable, especially when I was a child. And also there are pirates. Particularly, the most famous one is Long John Silver. Those were my top 5 picks for books that I loved before Booktube. Let me know in the comments below what are your favorite picks from a while ago that still hold a very special place in your heart. And if you love or hate any of the books that I mentioned, let me know that too. Yeah, so peace out. I love you guys and keep reading. Bye.